Boys, UFC 313, Pereira versus Ankalaev this Saturday. The fight we've been waiting for so long in that light heavyweight division. We're going to run through every fight on this card, and I'm going to be giving you guys my rare predictions on who is going to win and how. Let's start off with the early prelim opener, Djorden Santos taking on Ozzy Diaz in that middleweight division. Santos is a well-rounded fighter. You know, he's okay in all parts of the fight, but he's not great in any certain position. He has okay striking. He has really good calf kicks though. His calf kicks are really good. His wrestling is good. He has good takedown defense, and his offense isn't that great. His defense is a lot better than his offense, but yeah, he's making his UFC debut, coming from the Contender Series, gaining a decision win on there, but yeah, Ozzy Diaz, he's a former LFA world champion, which to be honest doesn't mean too much. He's a striker. He has good footwork, you know, he's pretty light on his feet. He has good movement, head movement, and some decent power for the division as well, but this dude has a pretty sus chin. He made his UFC debut a while ago on short notice. Not a while ago, sometime last year, not too long ago, but he made his UFC debut in that light heavyweight division, which isn't his normal division. He got knocked out. He's back at his natural weight class at middleweight, but Diaz doesn't have, he doesn't have the best chin. Plus, this dude just got knocked out in his last fight around 4 or 5 months ago. I'm going Santos by a second round KO, to be honest. I don't think Ozzy Diaz is going to have much success. Plus, not that great of a chin, coming off a knockout loss. And Santos does have some decent power. I think Santos is getting this done. If he can't knock him out on the feet, I think he can use his grappling against Ozzy Diaz and probably get it done there. You know, I can see a decision win, but I'm going second round KO win for Santos. Let's go down to that featherweight division. Mairon Santos taking on Francis Marshall. Now, Santos, he is a powerful striker with some good reach, and he does use it very well in this division. He has good takedown defense, good striking output, and for the most part, he's fairly unproven in the UFC. He does sound like we've been over this, where this dude sounds so good on paper, but he's just unproven. Where Marshall, he's a good grappler, he has good speed, he has a very long jab and some good hooks. His striking power isn't anything special, He can also be pretty inconsistent in his fights and being overly patient. And I think that's going to be a very key factor in this fight. He also does have a pretty wide base on his stance that does help him with his takedown defense, and sometimes he can leave his hands a little low, but other than that, I think round one we're gonna see a very overly patient Francis. He's gonna lose that round. Same thing with round two. I could see him being less patient but still too patient, losing that round. Round three, I could see him holding down Santos and having some success, but at that point, I think it's going to be too late. I think he's going to be 29-28 Santos for the decision. Overly patient Francis Marshall, I think that's what's going to cause him in this fight. I think that patientness is going to cause him big, and yeah, let's get into these prelims now. We got the opener of the prelims, welterweight division. Alex Morono taking on Carlos Leal. This is low-key this is a pretty good fight, but Alex Morono, a vet now at the UFC, and he's a good fighter, but the fight IQ, the decision making makes him a decent fighter. He has some good aggressive striking and jiu-jitsu, but he can be so inconsistent, and this dude just can't be consistent to save his life. And pretty much every fight he chooses not to use his skills, his best attribute. He chooses to stand and bang every single time, which is very, very annoying. Even though Morono has a high level black belt in jiu-jitsu, this dude rarely ever uses it. He has one of the worst fight IQs in the division. Carlos Leal, on the other hand, he's a powerful Muay Thai striker with some good forward pressure, and his durability is pretty good. He has some decent grappling skills, but in my opinion, he does rely on his strength rather than skill a lot of times, especially going for takedowns. And although, yes, he did look very, very good on short notice against Fakardimov, it was his UFC debut, and clearly, even in this picture, clearly this dude was on the sauce, and he might not perform anywhere near the level that he did back then. The question is, do I pick the inconsistency of Morono, or do I pick someone who might be coming off the sauce, and is going to have a huge downgrade in performance. At the end of the day, Moreno's IQ is just so bad. I'm going to go Carlos Leal, 29-28 decision. I think a lot of people are expecting Carlos Leal to go out here and do some crazy work against Morono. Like I said, I think he was on the sauce. I think he's coming off the sauce. I think we're going to see a drastic performance drop-off. Let's go into the middleweight division, though. We got Bruno Ferreira taking on Armen Petrosyan. Another great fight. Ferreira, he is a powerful, light-footed fighter who mixes it up very, very well. His attacks, he mixes them up very well. He can also mix in some grappling if the striking isn't working. He has some powerful takedowns, some slick BJJ, and he tends to be a slow starter, which could hurt him. And, his endurance, it's questionable in my opinion. I don't think we have a full grasp on how good this dude's cardio is, so it's questionable. Petrosyan, he's a fan-friendly fighter, he's a fan-friendly striker. People like to watch him strike. He had a very fun fight until he got knocked out by Shara Bullet. He has a solid, kickboxing background. So at the end of the day, he does like to go a little bit Cody Garbrandt crazy, and he likes to be a bit of a brawler and rely on his chin, which in my opinion is just straight up retarded because this dude has a pretty decent reach. Like this dude's reach, if he was using it correctly, there should have been no reason why he got double spinning elbowed. You know what I mean? It is what it is. He has a good reach for the division, and he does have some good output on his strikes. His takedown defense is okay, nothing special. I think, in my opinion, Bruno Ferreira, even though he's coming off a loss, he's coming off a loss to a very high-level guy, and I still think he's top 15 worthy. I think he will be in the top 15, and if he can't find the power shot on the feet, I think, if he's a step behind on the feet, he will mix in some takedowns, and I see him doing good work on the ground if it goes there. If it doesn't go there, I think he can still catch Armen with a power shot, but I'm going to say Armen is going to be a little bit too much on the feet. I'm going to say Bruno Ferreira gets a takedown somewhere around number 2, maybe early round 2 once he realizes round 1 is not going very favorable in his way. Gets a takedown, holds him there, gets some nasty ground and pound work. I'm going ground and pound TKO round number 2 for Bruno Ferreira. Let's go down to the flyweight division now. Another great matchup. We have Joshua Van, Rei Tsuruya. Joshua Van, I was dogging this dude. I was saying he's not like a prospect anymore. He's still a prospect. He's a 23-year-old aggressive prospect with he has some great striking, some good a good pace with him. We've been seeing this dude improve every single time he comes into the octagon, which is, you love to see that. He has decent takedowns, he has good scrambles, but it could be better. It's not like amazing. It could be better. His aggressive style can also leave this dude wide open for counters, like we saw in some of his other fights, like the Charles Johnson, like I'm not going to mention ones, but we've seen in his fights that his style has shown that there's some holes there for some counters. Where Rei Tsuruya, he's also a promising flyweight prospect. He is a good grappler with he has some real grappling skills. I'll say that. He has good aggression, good takedowns, good transitions, some nasty ground and pound work. And the only thing that is making me question this matchup is we really haven't seen too much of Rei Tsuruya when it comes to like higher level opponents in the UFC. So it's hard to gauge how well he really is, how good he really is. And because of that, I think the takedown, I think I think Joshua Van will be taken down pretty early in the fight, but slowly, having more and more success. I think round 1 is going to go to Rei. He's going to get that early takedown, maybe have a very strong round 1. Round 2, it'll still be a good round 2 for Rei, but nowhere near how good round number 1 was. I think Joshua Van will have more and more success as the fight goes on. And I'm seeing him slowly start to break Rei Tsuruya as we get into the 3rd round. And I'm seeing a TKO on that Joshua Van side. So yeah, my final prediction, Joshua Van breaking Rei Tsuruya round number 3 TKO style, losing the first, maybe even the second a very, very close round. But let's go down to the heavyweight division, a garbage fight. I don't know why this was made, but this is the main event of these prelims. We got Curtis Blaydes taking on Rizvan Kuniev. Now, Curtis Blaydes is one of, if not the best wrestler that we have at heavyweight, and he can be a dominant wrestler if he chooses to, but as of recently he's been using his hands a whole lot more, and for the most part he does have like some clean textbook level striking. You know, his technique is good, and of course he does have that heavyweight power. And you know, the thing that gets this dude in trouble in almost all of his losses is a striking defense. Rizvan, he is fairly well-rounded for a heavyweight. You know, for a heavyweight, he's fairly well-rounded, which isn't saying much. He can mix in striking, he can mix in grappling, he can mix in wrestling. He's also popped for, you know, PDs before, but, you know, bring him into the UFC. Why not? His striking isn't the prettiest thing to look at. You know, it's kind of autistic looking, but his goal is pretty much pressure heavy, get you up against the fence, take you down, and do some ground and pound work there. That's his game plan. But I think it comes down to, you know, like a classic Corey Anderson. There's levels to this. I think we're going to see that clear as day. I'm going Curtis Blaydes. Is it stupid to pick that he's going to take this dude down and do some ground and pound work? I'm going to go Rizvan trying to take down Curtis Blaydes, and Curtis Blaydes reversing it, getting on top, ground and pound, TKO win. Final prediction, round number 1. Let's go into this main card now. This main card is stacked. We got Bobby Green taking on the Brazilian Conor McGregor, Mauricio Ruffy. Now, lightweight division, you know, we got Bobby Green. He's, again, a vet at this point in the UFC. He's a very powerful, high-volume striker with some underrated defense in wrestling. I'm not going to lie, but he's also 38 years old, and he has been finished a lot in his last few fights, so when you get to that point, especially in like divisions like lightweight and divisions like that, and when you're getting so much damage on you, you can never tell when the breaking point is. There's going to be one fight where you look like your normal self, and the next fight you're going to look completely washed out of nowhere. So we don't know when that point's going to be for Bobby Green, but he's taking on Ruffy, he's taking on Brazilian Conor McGregor, and it's going to be a hard fight for him because Ruffy is a nasty striker with some big power in this division. He has some good reach. You know, he's very good at mixing in heavy strikes with the hands, with the kicks, with the low kicks, you know, head kick. He mixes it in very good. Have people been glazing this dude a little bit too much as of recently, thinking he's like the next coming of Conor McGregor? Yes. I give him his praise, but, you know, he hasn't looked too great in the past few fights, but you know, he has good takedown defense. Cardio can be iffy here and there, but he does have the power to finish you at any time in the fight. I think this is going to be very similar to the Jalin Turner type of knockout. Not as bad though, but I just think Ruffy's, you know, his length, his power, his reach, I think all that's going to play a huge part of this fight. Plus, again, Bobby Green is 38 years old and has been finished a lot recently. I don't want to say first round, but I'm going first round KO win. I don't know. I'm not going to say he puts out Bobby Green bad. I'm going to say it's more of a TKO, stands up, wobbling type of knockout. Kind of like Pereira versus Strickland, that type of knockout. Not that exact finish, but that's how hurt Bobby Green will be. You know, he'll still be stumbling around, but he won't be out cold. Let's go down to the women's strawweight division. Amanda Lemos taking on Iasmin Lucindo. Now, Amanda is a former title challenger and a Muay Thai striker with some pretty fast and accurate and powerful hands for the division. But, you know, her cardio isn't the best, especially for 5 rounds, so this is good for her only being 3 rounders, but still not the best cardio. Her grappling defense has shown in the past is definitely her weakest part of her game, where Lucindo she's a promising grappling prospect in this division, and she uses her speed, her power to get the clinch, to drag her opponents to the ground, and she has some nasty top pressure where she mixes in some strikes so she can set up some submission threats. She's fairly good, but her striking is definitely mid, very, very much mid, and definitely needs to be improved. And her striking defense isn't anything crazy either. She could definitely be countered by a nasty counter in this division, but I think, you know, she's gonna avoid a lot of the big power on the feet, and we're gonna see Lucindo get Lemos to the ground, and I think that's gonna be the story of the fight, to be honest. Plus, Lucindo's 37 years old. 30-27 dominant grappling performance by Lucindo. Let's keep moving down to that lightweight division. I believe this is the featured fight. We got Jalin Turner, Ignacio, Bahamondes. Now, Jalin Turner is a forward pressure boxer who is also fairly well-rounded, being able to either KO you, submit you, go to the decision. He has a huge reach advantage in most of his fights, especially for this division. He has a 77-inch reach, and I'm not just listing off all the great things. Some of the things that he really struggles with is defending low kicks, and his grappling defense just isn't that great. Bahamondes, on the other hand, also a very tall, dynamic fighter for this division, and he uses his reach very well. He has some really good volume. He has okay power. It's nothing crazy. I definitely think Jalin Turner has more power than Bahamondes, but Bahamondes still has good accuracy, good footwork, good head movement. Takedown defense is pretty good. I think this is literally a 50-50 type of fight, but Bahamondes is, in my opinion, more of a dynamic striker than Jalin Turner. So we're going to see a whole lot more oohs and ahs from the crowd. So I think the judges will reward that, but I think this shit's super close. This 100% could end up in a finish, but I'm seeing it being a very close chess-like fight. Oohs and ahs swaying the judges. I'm going 29-28 split decision for Bahamondes. Let's keep moving down to that co-main event. Justin Gaethje taking on Rafael Fiziev. Honestly, I think this is a good replacement for Justin Gaethje, mainly because I do think Dan Hooker would have knocked out Justin Gaethje at this point in their careers. But this is a good matchup for Justin Gaethje, style-wise, and just timing-wise too. But Justin Gaethje, do we need to get into either of these last four guys? Justin Gaethje, a dynamic fighter, with non-stop aggression, some of the best leg kicks, low leg kicks in lightweight, and some crazy toughness. But in his last fights, he has been, not last fights, but definitely his last fight, he has got KO'd in one of the worst KOs I've ever seen. I'm not gonna lie, and he's taken almost a year to recover, which is good, I think. But Fiziev, he's a great striker as well. He has a traditional Muay Thai style, and he has some good power for this division. Good power, good volume. He mixes his strikes, from punches to kicks very well. His takedown defense is good as well. He's coming off a knee injury surgery, though. That's the big thing, and he's been out for a hot-ass minute. Plus, he doesn't have the best cardio in the world, and he does tend to slow down Fiziev. But pretty much, I think, again, this is a very, very close fight. But I think round one will be a very close fight and a very dangerous round one, especially for Justin Gaethje. I think if anyone gets knocked out in round one, it would be Justin Gaethje. But round one, very close, very dangerous. I think Fiziev is going to come for that KO. So round one, he's going to be hunting down Gaethje, looking for that knockout. Round two, I think Fiziev starts to slow down, still looking for that shot, but definitely visibly slows down. Gaethje has more and more success. Round three, Fiziev is gassed. Because if you guys don't remember, this is a very short notice fight, especially for Fiziev, who has not had a proper training camp, and again, is coming on this short notice after being off for so long because of this injury. I guarantee this dude hasn't had the proper camp whatsoever. I don't think he'll have the cardio for 3 rounds. And I think round 3, Justin Gaethje breaks Fiziev and finishes him. I'm going round 3, TKO win for Justin Gaethje. Let's get into this main event now. Light heavyweight title fight. Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev. And I've been standing on business since day one. And to be honest, I'm still standing on business. Right now we got Pereira. He's a high-level kickboxer with some crazy power in his hands, feet, and knees. It doesn't matter what this dude hits you with. It's gonna hurt. But to be honest, with all of his accomplishments that he's had so far, there's still a lot of unknown, especially about his takedown defense going up against such a strong grappler. Where Magomed, he is a very well-rounded fighter who is good at using his range. He uses his range very effectively and has some power to KO anybody in light heavyweight. He also has a lot of good strikes in his arsenal. Like, he has some good hooks, uppercut. He has a good left high kick. And as much as people say this dude is a dominant wrestler and a submission threat to Alex Pereira, he hardly ever uses his wrestling. It's either because it's not as dominant as what people say, or, the background noise, the UFC doesn't want him to use it as much. Either or. He doesn't use it as much as what people are saying. Plus, for all this submission threat bull, this dude has 0 submission wins in the UFC. Not even the UFC, his entire career, 0 submission wins. I don't think he's as much of a boogeyman as everyone's saying he is. He struggles with low kicks, one of Pereira's specialties, and he in this fight, he needs to be aware of it. He needs to check it or move out of the way, because that's going to play a huge role in this fight. That's what I think. But final prediction, let me lay out the scene for you guys. Round 1. Ankalaev doesn't shoot round 1. He stands with Pereira round 1. He gets his leg chewed the fuck up. He gets his body just absolutely pummeled. Round 2 comes in. His leg is cooked. He's going for a takedown. I'll say round 2, halfway through round 2, he goes in for a takedown, but doesn't get it. You know, he maybe gets Pereira down for a second. My boy's bouncing right back up. Pause. And then after that, you know, the leg's cooked, the body's hurting. Pereira's having more and more success in round 2. It looks like Ankalaev's going to get finished this round. He doesn't. He takes Pereira down. He holds him there for the rest of the round. It is what it is. He holds him there for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Nothing special, but people are saying, okay, if he can take him down now, he can probably take him down for the next 3 rounds. Round 3 happens. Magomed's leg cooked. Magomed's body cooked. Pereira jabs the body twice. He fakes the third body shot. Goes up high, left hook KO round number 3. Put that shit in the books because that's 100% happening. Let me know in the comments below how excited you guys are for this pay-per-view. Unfortunately, your boy is going to miss the entire card, so I might kill myself, but I'll be rewatching all these fights when I can because my boy, shout out the boy Jeremy, he's getting married. So your boy has some things to attend, but best believe I'm going to be watching this after the fact, and the entire time, your boy's going to be just thinking of what's going on. I'm going to be off social media completely on that Saturday because I don't want any shit to get ruined for me. I want to watch it pretending like I'm watching it live. But let me know in the comments below how excited you guys are for UFC 13. Do you agree or disagree with any of my picks? And yeah, tomorrow I'm probably going to have my rare locks of UFC 313. And yeah, thank you guys for watching to the end of the video. And I will see you guys in my next video.